Hello and welcome back to Don't Press Play, the podcast where we press play on horror films so you don't have to. Now, today is a really exciting one. The sun is shining outside, and I thought, what better way to celebrate than to get some Summerween vibes going on. And I thought the best way to kick that off is with Halloween H20, 20 years later. This film to me encompasses the perfect Summerween vibe. If you're not familiar with Summerween, it's that really weird point between like summer and Halloween where the horror heads, we kind of just go a bit crazy because we know that the next season coming is Halloween. So it's kind of just like a 3-month long celebration before Halloween starts. And Halloween H20 is that perfect sweet spot to start with. Now, if you haven't seen this film and if you're kind of just getting into the genre, I would turn away right now because it's going to be a very spoiler-filled review. And also, you've had literally about 40 years to watch this film. So, not 40 years. How many years ago? When did this come out? I don't know. Anyway, just don't watch this episode if you haven't seen Halloween H20. And if you haven't seen it, What Are You Doing is an absolute classic of the franchise. So, let's roll the trailers and I will see you on the other side.
It's 1998 in a remote California town at a secluded private school.
We could have a Halloween party, just the four of us. We could have a roaming orgy.
I love the way this man thinks. No booze, no drugs, no kidding.
One teacher is living in fear.
I'm not who you think I am. I changed my name when I went into hiding.
Terrible. Take off your clothes.
My brother killed my sister.
How'd he do that?
With a really big kitchen knife.
That's enough. I can't take it, Mom. He's dead. It's been 20 years. What's he waiting for? Don't you think he would have shown up by now?
What's going on, babe?
I don't know. This is a sick joke.
Now,
Come on!
the face of good and the face of evil will meet one last time. But this time, it's going to be a fight to the finish. This summer, terror won't be taking a vacation. Halloween H20.
It's Halloween. I guess everyone is entitled to one good scare. I've had my share.
Okay, so released in July of 1998. Halloween H20 was directed by Steve Miner, and it is currently sitting at a 6.0 out of 10 on IMDb. Now, the story picks up 20 years after the original events of Halloween. It does ignore the events of 3, 4, 5, and 6, and it's essentially the first ever reboot of the franchise. Now, the franchise has actually been rebooted around 3 times. It's had a remake, it's had another reboot in 2018, and it's had this reboot from 20 years later. And all in all, I would say that this is my favorite reboot of the franchise, and we'll get into why as the episode goes on. I just love this film so much. Like I said, it really has that Halloween summer vibe. And yeah, let's just get into it. So 20 years after faking her death, Laurie Strode, the original survivor from Halloween 1978, is now living under a new name in like witness protection as Carrie Tate, and she's a headmistress of a California boarding school. And she has a teenage son called John, who also lives and attends this private Halloween school, this private boarding school. And it's been 20 years since Michael Myers attacked her in the hospital, and she hasn't seen him since, and he is presumed dead. But then the teenage son John reaches the age of 17, the same age that Laurie was, in the original, and Michael Myers decides to go trick-or-treating and track her down. And this is the first time that we see Laurie confront her Frankenstein, and the first time it's kind of ever done in the franchise. Probably in the genre as well. I think this was a first for everyone, and it's a showdown of two titans of horror. So let's get into it. Now, this film opens up with the iconic Mr. Sandman jingle. It's so good. We see a knife swing down into a pumpkin, and the streets of Haddonfield are littered with dead leaves. The Halloween vibes are so strong at the start of this film. Honestly, it makes me want to put like a pumpkin spice candle up my fucking ass. Like, it's so good. And we have Marion Chambers from the first Halloween, and she is coming back after work. She's got a cig in her mouth, and she notices that her house has been broken into. So she goes and gets the two kids that live next door to check the house out. And and Jimmy and Tony, I think are their names. They go in and try and investigate. There's a little Friday the 13th reference with his hockey mask, because obviously Steve Miner, who directed some of the Friday films, did this film. Excuse me. So they go in and have a look around, and they don't find anything. So they come out and they give her the all clear. And then the smoking nurse, she gives such a great line from this film. She is sat on the sofa, and one of the kids goes, "Anyone ever told you secondhand smoke kills?" And she takes a long drag of a cigarette and she says, "Yeah, but they're all dead." Oh my God. Like, if that wasn't an anti-smoking ad that would work on me, absolutely. I was like ready to go and get some cigarettes. Absolutely. So Marion Chamber then gets the all clear, goes back into a house, but she realizes that something is off. And that thing is that Michael Myers is in fact in her house. Now, she puts up such a great fight. She runs next door, but then she realizes that these kids have been murdered. He has a hockey skate to the face. Jimmy is dead, and then ultimately the smoking nurse meets her demise and is murdered by Michael Myers. And then Michael Myers ransacks Dr. Loomis's office, because that's why he's there in the first place, to get anything he can on Laurie Strode, who is presumed dead at this point. And he gets Laurie's file, and then he steals a car because somebody around here gave him lessons, and he takes off for California. Now, as opening scenes go, I think it is pretty solid. It does a great job in setting the tone. Michael is shot absolutely perfect in this film. Not in this film, there's some tricky shots in this opening scene, sorry. And the kills are great. The vibes are there. It's just such a good stepping point, especially put it in, if you were a fan back then and the Halloween franchise has been pretty dormant. The last film you've got was Halloween 6, which was shocking. I think it would be so magical to have watched that back then and had that opening scene. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on? And then we have a voice actor doing the late Donald Pleasance. He had the blackest eyes, the darkest eyes. Halloween H20 pops up on the screen, and that score kicks in, and it's like, and you're in for a fucking roller coaster. And the thing with this film is it's not very long. It's quite a short film, so it's short, it's snappy, it's fun, and it's like a roller coaster. You're in and you're out, and before you know it, the film's over. But you get some great moments, some great tension, and yeah, this film is just absolutely. It brings all the vibes that you need. And now we are at the boarding school, and we meet our new and improved Laurie Strode. Now, Laurie Strode is going by Kerry Tate, and she's the headmistress of a fancy private school. And this is the first time that we see Laurie Strode and how she is coped with the events that happened. Now, in Halloween 2018, we have to kind of take into account that the only thing that happened to her was the events of the first night, which were very traumatic. However, I think they should have kept Halloween 2 in the mix because it makes more sense for how traumatized Laurie is. Now, in Halloween H2O, Laurie is, drinking Chardonnay before 10 a.m. and she's clearly not had a chill day since 1978. And she is really raising John in a anxiety-filled environment. She's really running the house with an iron fist. Like, she is constantly she's telling him to be careful crossing the street, and she's chugging Pinot Grigio and taking Ativan in the teacher's lounge. So that's kind of where we're at. She is doing so much to kind of protect John that we can kind of see that dynamic of she's like smothering him a bit too much. And, John doesn't understand that because he's kind of not seen Michael Myers in action. He's not seen this Michael Myers that was shot, off a balcony and came back for her in the same night on the hospital. Like, Laurie knows deep inside that Michael is this like persistent being. And I think that it makes sense that she's drinking and she's doing all this, to protect John, because she knows that Michael Myers is coming back. And I think that's something that is definitely missed out on in the 2018 one, because that kind of mystery is completely taken away when, Michael's taken as soon as he's shut off, and he just gets home, walks away, he's found, he's incarcerated. Whereas in this timeline, Michael Myers is, blown up and they never found the body. So it kind of adds to that mystery and why Laurie is so on edge and why she's kind of she's not even a mess, but she's just such a product of her trauma in this film. And I just think that's something that is explored a lot better than it is in 2018. But obviously, we're not talking about that. So we meet John's girlfriend, played by Michelle Williams, and we meet LL Cool J, who is a security guard, and he's an aspiring erotica writer. Now, this kind of weird spin-off character is such a great part of this film that you wouldn't think would work so well, but it really does. And kind of him being on the phone to his wife and how he's going to be a writer and how, she is on the phone while he's doing his book and stuff like that. It just works so well because I think it helps ground Halloween in the real world a bit more. Because I think if it was a bit too serious and everything was one-toned, I think this film would be a lot flatter. But because you get those character interactions with people like LL Cool J, who, he's a security guard, but he's also a writer, you really do it does ground this film in real world a little bit better, because you do have that supernatural element with Michael. This kind of helps, bridge the gap a little bit, which is really, really good. I mean, LL Cool J writing steamy romance novels between patrols is just king behavior, to be honest. So Michael starts to head west, and he's got a stolen car, and he's driving cross country like he's on some twisted road trip. And this is probably one of the scariest scenes in the film. It's when Michael pulls up at a restaurant because he has ruined the tires of his car, and it is the creepiest public bathroom ever. Like, this should have been knocked down. It should never have been built. It is just the most creepiest bathroom ever, and he's just waiting in there because he thinks, oh, it's a truck stop, someone's going to leave her car keys and I'm going to take their car. And it's a woman and her daughter, and they go into the toilets, and we get such a creepy shot of Michael Myers like in the mirror, and his hand comes in and grabs the bag. It is nightmare fuel. And I remember as a kid, like, this scene kept me up at night. This scene made me scared of bathrooms for life. Just so terrifying, so well shot, so well done. And I just think, like, again, there's just something so magical about this film, the way it's able to take scenes like that, which could have been easily not scary, and they managed to just heighten it up and do it so well that even today, I can't go into a public bathroom without being like, oh my God, Michael Myers is literally in there and he's going to come out and steal my car even though I don't drive. Like, that's just where I'm at with that. So it's just absolutely crazy. And then back at the school, Laurie is kind of dealing with the upcoming Halloween anniversary, and she's drinking more. And we kind of start to see a hallucinating Michael in windows and mirrors. And there's such a great scene of her. So she goes to a cafe to meet one of the guys that works at the school, who she's obviously seeing at the time. And she's got like a large glass of Chardonnay. And she's not even finished it, and then she calls the waitress. She's like, "Can I get a large glass of Chardonnay, please, today?" And then she necks the glass of Chardonnay. It's just I think it's such. I'm not saying it's like fun way of doing trauma, but it's such a it's a lot more real and a lot more kind of how I would think that Laurie Strode would be compared to in 2018 when she's like guzzling wine and shaking and doing little shots in her car. Like, it's another way of showing trauma, I get that. But I just think for the sake of this movie, it's done it so well. Because if we had 2018 Laurie in Halloween H2O, it wouldn't have worked as well as it does. And I think this is like Jamie Lee Curtis really got the character in this film. And yeah, it's her portrayal of Laurie in this film is so brilliant. And it's like a different side of Laurie, and it's kind of like warrior style Laurie who, fucking nothing that glass of Chardonnay is just so great. Well, it's not great. It's bad for you, but it's so good. It's so good. So then we start to kind of get this other plot point coming on about John who wants to go to Yosemite, which I believe is like a national park in America, and it's like an end of year trip, and he wants to go to that, and obviously Laurie is like, absolutely not. It's Halloween. It's not happening. I'm sorry. I'll take you camping if you want to go camping. And he's like, I don't want to go camping with you. The whole tent will stink of Pinot Grigio. Um, so him and all of his friends decide that they're all going to pull sickies and not go to Yosemite, and they all want to have their own Halloween party. Now, it's such a clever way of doing this because, I just think that's such a good way of keeping these characters in the private school where they're all going to, although, however, I think it would be kind of sick if we did see like a Michael Myers in the woods kind of vibe. If you knew them like at Yosemite and Michael Myers is hunting them down in the woods, I think it would be like a Jeepers Creepers 2 kind of vibe without pedophile director. Uh, so yeah, I think if I could go back in time and I could tweak things and maybe do a little, hey, you should do this, I think I would have loved to see some like Michael Myers in the woods hunting kids, because that I think would have been brutal, especially because I think Michael Myers in H2O is so next level brutal for me. I just think he's so scary in H2O. I think his size, and yeah, I just think if we saw Michael Myers in the woods, I think that'd be a lot more scary to me. Um, so anyway, we get a cameo from a what is her name? What is her name? Okay, so we get a cameo from Janet Leigh before the Yosemite buses, and it is obviously the icon from Psycho, who is actually Jamie Lee Curtis's real life mother, and she is outside the famous 1957 Ford car that she drove in Psycho, and she walks away, and we hear the Psycho music play. She has a lovely line that's like, "If I could be paternal for a moment." And we also have an incredible bit where she says that the girls' shower drains are blocked again. Now, these are all obviously Psycho references, and the thing with Halloween is there are so many references to Psycho, and like with the names and stuff like that. It's such a beautiful little, like, it's a bit like Halloween's relationship with Scream. They always reference each other. So in the Scream film, they obviously play Halloween on the TV, and then in Halloween H2O, they play Scream 2. It's just such a lovely little like relationship that they all have. And I don't know, it's like not a multiverse of horror. It's just like a lovely little like kiss to each other, and it works so well. So that's always a cool little detail that this film has. Like, I don't even know, some people find it cringe. I think it's just fantastic, and I really appreciate little nods like that. When Yosemite starts to happen, everybody gets on the bus and leaves, and Laurie Strode heads home for her night in with her boyfriend, and she finally opens up and tells him that she is not who he thinks she is, and kind of gives him an insight into her life. And she has such an incredible way of describing Michael Myers. I think it's something along the lines of one night Michael Myers decides to go trick or treating, and it's obviously referring to how he escapes from his hospital and then goes after her. And honestly, goosebumps. It's just such like a nice retelling of Halloween from 1978, and it's just a bit nice. It's not. It's just a bit fun. Um, and then she notices the card on the side, and it says 17, and she's like, "Oh," and he's like, "How old were you?" And she's like, 17, and then she's like, "Dun dun dun." Alarm bell starts ringing. She goes to John's room and realizes that the camping stuff is still there, and he never made it to Yosemite. Mm, gag. And so from that point on, the roller coaster is ready to go, and we are starting to go down the big hill into the loop. And yeah, we kind of the kids are having a Halloween party, and we get the first kind of kill where one of the guys, the like the weird horny one, he goes to get like a cork opener, drops it down a garbage disposal thing, and there's like a whole tension building thing, and then we see Michael Myers. Now, this is where we should probably address the elephant in the room, and that's Michael Myers' mask. Now, as much as I can love Halloween H20, the masks in this film are a little bit shaky. Now, they did use the Halloween 6 mask in the first half of production, which was fine, they used it in the opening scene with the smoking nurse, and it works really well. It's really, really looks really cool, shoots really well. But then they decided to make a KGB one, I think it's called KBG. I don't know. That kind of brand that did one of the original Scream masks. And that's the one with the huge eyes and the brown thin eyebrows and the goofy hair, which is what they kind of go with. And that just does not look great at all. So then they tried to CGI the mask, which yikes. Now CGI back then wasn't like CGI back now, and even now I think if they tried to do a CGI mask, it would be quite questionable. So, I mean, you got a blessed for trying, but I don't know why someone didn't just go out and just like make a Halloween mask from the original. I think this film would have been like 10,000% more scary had there been like an original Shatner mask used in this film. But if you kind of like try not to look at Michael Myers' mask in this film, it's like manageable, but it is like the only thing that lets this film down is the mask. And it's like, if you're doing this big like legacy sequel and you're doing like this 20 years later, you'd think that the mask could be the first thing that they got right. I mean, Halloween 2018, they did an okay job with the mask, but I just think, if you're going to do a Halloween movie, I think the first thing you would do is get the mask correct. But I digress, Halloween H2O, you did what you had to do, and it's done now. So Michael goes after the kids, and there is a really brutal scene with the dumbbell where he kills the gothy looking girl and like absolutely ruins her minds in the dumbbell, cuts her leg off, and then decorates a kill by like putting her up into the light bulb, but the light's like shining through her chest. It's really, really gnarly, but it works really, really well. And then he decides to come after John and his girlfriend, and it's quite an intense chase scene. We get a 2-hit kick where he like tries to get Michael and stabs John, and that is when we finally get the start of the showdown, and we have Laurie and Michael meet for the first time through that glass window. Goosebumps. Goosebumps, guys. This scene plays rent free in my mind. We have the first meeting after 20 years, and they look into each other's eyes, and like you both know, like it's on, like this means war. And from that point on, like we have Laurie being an absolute fucking savage, okay? Like she doesn't even hesitate. She grabs that gun and bang, Michael is gone. And that is when like the tension really starts to kick in, and we really get that like, oh, it's all kicking off. So Michael starts to do this weird thing where he like can come down from like a beam because he's got such big like core upper body strength. And it's so fucking creepy. He comes down from one hand. Laurie does this amazing thing where she opens up a cupboard and she's like, fuck, because she doesn't want to do what she did in the original. Well, you know what I mean? It's like stuff like that that's so like, it's so cleverly done, and it's so meh, and it's so Scream, because obviously Kevin Williamson helped write some of this. So obviously his imprint is all over this film, and you can really tell from just how meta it can get sometimes, but I absolutely love it. So she kind of puts blood on the handle, and then Michael thinks she's in there, and then bang, smacks him with a fire hydrant, and then it's just so good. Anyway, there's the final kind of showdown in the school. Oh, guys, I've completely missed the best part of this entire film. What is wrong with me? So, when Laurie knows that Michael is in the school, she takes it upon herself to shut the gates, and then she smashes the gates with a rock. She takes an axe off the wall, and she screams, Michael! And then the Halloween score starts to play. Honestly, like, that is the best thing to come out of this franchise ever. Oh my God. When I first watched that, I was like gonna throw up from excitement. Like, that is Final Girl. That is like big dick energy. Like, imagine, like, whoever idea was that, like, you deserve a raise because that is how you do a showdown. Like, that is Laurie Strode saying, fuck this, like, this ends tonight. I'm facing my monster. Like, no one gets out alive. I'm gonna kill you even if it kills me. So basically, Laurie goes on the hunt for Michael and she's no longer hiding from Michael. It's like, I'm coming after you. So they finally start to meet each other, and there's a showdown with these tables where he's like flipping tables. And Michael Myers is an absolute beast in this film. Like, his mask may look a bit crazy, but he is psychotic. Like, there's a scene where Laurie hits him with the back of a knife, and he's like, he gives her this look of like, that hurt you, bitch. Like, that well hurt. Like, you don't need to be like, literally calm down, girl. And so there's a whole shootout. She stabs him with a like flagpole, and he is 86th for the time being. He's on his back, sprawled. And then we think the film is over. We think Michael Myers is dead because she's about to stab him. LL Cool J comes back from the dead, and he's like, "Oh no, 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 no!" So he is loaded up into a medic van, and Laurie Strode thinks, not doing this again. I'm not doing this again in 10 years' time when he decides he's not dead. So she goes absolutely batshit, pulls the gun out on people, steals the ambulance, and then we drive off a cliff with Michael because he's actually still alive. And Michael is pinned against a tree. And then this is where literally the scene of my childhood. Laurie Strode decapitates Michael Myers' head, clean cut off, and the head rolls down the hill. This is how you do a sequel. Like, this was the ultimate showdown. Like, Halloween H2O does what any other film has tried and failed to do in the horror genre. Like, imagine, like, head cut off, and then that's Laurie saying, done, enough. Case closed. Michael Myers, dead. You are dead. And that's where the franchise ends, is there's no other sequel, there's no other reboot or anything. That's where the Halloween franchise ends. Laurie Strode walks back up the hill, goes to a cafe, gets herself a nice large Pinot Grigio with ice and a dash of lemonade, and she just, yeah, she's cured from that point on. And Michael Myers is gone, dead and buried. What was no there was no Halloween Kills or Ends. No, that was that didn't happen. Halloween Resurrection. No, that was AI. That whole movie was AI. It never happened. Yeah, that's where Halloween H2O ends. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's 100% true. 100% true. So, that is a rundown of basically Halloween H2O and my kind of thoughts and feelings of it. Yeah, if I was to rate this film out of 5, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5, just because the mask lets it down a little bit. But apart from that, I do think this film is that perfect Summerween vibe. And if you're looking to kind of get in the mood for Halloween, just put this film on. It's going to take like an hour and 20 minutes of your life away, and it's worth every single minute because you've got Michael Myers, you've got Laurie Strode, you've got like a Scream-esque soundtrack. You know, it's just the perfect blend. And even if you don't want to feel like Halloween vibes, you can still watch it, and it's a great little slasher film. So, absolutely, I'm going to say press a play on this film. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to today's episode on Halloween H2O. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like, giving me a follow, giving me a rating, subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, follow me if you're listening wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can follow me over at Instagram at the Don't Press Play Pod. I'm very active on there, and I'm trying to grow a little audience for myself, a little horror community. So drop me a message if you want to talk horror. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
Chris.